Harris and musicians live in the studio, Andrew Davis and Rob Jones. Awesome, thanks to Trin and Ray and Alexis, who are recording this, streaming it, podcasting, Proof to Power, and radio.freepress.org, the home of the burgeoning revolution. Here we are, expanding from the bunker into a side room, inviting the people in, taking on the corrupt and illegitimate Bush regime. A new book you can pre-buy should be out in April. To the Loser Goes the Spoils, which I've written a chapter in on election prevention, which we'll be speaking about today. But until we do that, let us bring you the music of the people. So Andrew and Rob, what do you got for those listening worldwide on the web? I'm of the opinion of Ellen Greenspan that Bill Clinton was the best Republican president we had in the post-World War II era. Free trade, NAFTA, could balance a budget, and didn't blow countries up for no reason. He generally had a reason if he sent in some missiles. So, and his wife, again, the same sort of corporate manager. Barack, on the other hand, to his credit, spoke out against the illegal and immoral war in Iraq, and I think Hillary will have some problems with the progressive community, although they're saying she has about a 15-point or so lead, but it all depends on the turnout. I was driving in here today down Main Street from the Free Press office at 1000 East Main Street. There was a woman out there with a handmade Barack sign. Here it is, more than 2 weeks out. Usually you see this the weekend before, but it really depends on turnout. Barack often has that JFK quality to him, both good and bad, right? He inspires young people, he inspires high voter turnouts. He's a great speaker, and some of it spontaneously. He doesn't need Ted Sorensen to write his speeches, as JFK did. But on the other hand, people are wondering, does he have that old problem described by the great peace leader Norman Thomas, when he once called John Kennedy, all profile, no courage. But anyway, Barack has been courageous on the war, and also, how will the elections go? Ooh, this is going to get real scary. There's a actually interesting, and I recommend you read it, letter from Jennifer Bruner today on page A9, where she makes some good points about the move in the state of Ohio to paper ballots. Again, she cites that interesting fact that now 54% of all Democrats want paper ballots, and 38% of Republicans in the state of Ohio. So the group around the Free Press here has gone from being conspiracy theorists in 2004, but after they tested these machines, lo and behold, apparently the computer voting machines can be hacked just like every other computer. Whoa, that's startling news. Not only that, you can program the result. What next? Computer programmers is a job? Anyway, with that in mind, we need to keep in mind that we want free, transparent elections. 95% of all democracies vote on paper. And that even the Scantron machines, the voting machines, the OptiScans, are preferable because they actually leave a ballot. I think there's going to be a huge vote on paper movement. It's already starting. Connie Harris was plotting while I was eating my eggs and pancakes here at Vic's, highly recommended, that people need to have a real paper trail. Who knows, maybe we'll even let in the mysterious national political director of the Free Press. He lobbied for that title. We might even put it in the next paper. We just hope he doesn't want any money with a title like that. But with that in mind, what about some scary music, Rob and Andrew? Scary music for computer manipulated CIA voting machine. And if you want to know about it, go to the Winter 2008 Free Press, the kudzu effect. How these computers brought to you by the CIA and friends of Bush are strangling, I say, our democracy. The kudzu effect. The kudzu effect. How these computers brought to you by the CIA and friends of Bush are strangling. The kudzu effect. How these computers. Vote on paper. Vote on paper. It's both, man. We're a factually based newspaper. All right, here at this, in the side room, talking, and we have the legendary, well, at least we're promoting him as a legend.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Free Press, national political editor at large, been known to roam the country. And we'll go to him and see. We also have Connie Harris, a local activist. Connie, what's on your mind?
Oh, I think that, you know, through word of mouth, we must, is it on? Hand-counted paper ballots. And we've got Hillary and Barack and John McCain coming into town. I think we need to hit a route. We need to hit a route.
Yeah.
What do you mean we're out?
It's not working. Her mic is not hot.
Okay, that's
Oh,
fine.
come over here, Connie. Is this one working? Can you hear that?
Here, turn.
Testing.
Can you hear anything there?
Testing.
Thank God for editing, huh?
Can you hear anything?
Yeah, I got levels on yours.
All right.
Okay, we got one live mic. Cluster around it.
That's better.
All right.
Lock that shit, Connie. I meant to offer you. Candy cigarette, Bobby. Anybody?
Connie here. Okay. Yeah.
Actually made in the 1950s for my private
And we're
stockpile.
back.
We're back live at Vic's. Connie, you were saying.
I was saying with all these candidates coming through town, you know, McCain, Huckabee is probably going to be here. I think we really need to stand up to them. But we need to let them know that Ohio prefers hand-counted paper ballots, and we've been doing it word of mouth, you know, on the streets, and I hope it's getting around. And Jennifer Bruner, you know, she's waited a little too long, but we've got to, you know, we've got to get it moving.
All right, and Justin Bruner is holding a community forum on her Everest voting machine test on Wednesday, February 20th, from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Agricultural Building on OSU campus. So if you're a hand-counted paper ballot advocate, which the majority of Democrats are, 54%, even 38% of the Republicans being drug along, is that you're going to want to go to this forum on February 20th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Agricultural Building at OSU. That's the Ohio State University. And let people know that we don't want to vote on machines. We want voter-verified paper ballots in the Buckeye State. That way, that spooky little group over at the Election Assistance Commission and the so-called mysterious election center, which is in a nasty little strip mall there in Texas. Now, we don't trust these people. We don't trust these corporate computer programmers. We don't trust the privatization of the voting process any more than we trust Blackwater and Halliburton and Khaki and Titan and these people that have gone into Iraq, these war profiteers, these friends of Bush who have tortured in the name of profit. All right, give me some torture music. Let's denounce these thugs. Let's stand up for the covenant against torture. Let's stand up for the 8th Amendment. Let's denounce the thugs that torture other human beings.
In the name of profit. In the name of profit. In the
Sweet. Cut off quickly, just when people fade after being tortured. All right, Mr. Lewis, tell us what's on your mind.
Man,
You're
I've
looking
got
forward to meeting Hillary? Have you already met Barack? You were in Iowa, as I understand it. At least that's what you told us. That's what I told your probation officer.
I was in Iowa. I have not yet shaken hands with Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, though I've talked to some of their top staff people, and I have some of my grubby little fingers in the door here when they come through Ohio. I've already
slamming it on you.
They try.
Probably your assistant.
They try. I've secured several hotel guest lists already. I am ready for the March 4th primary here in Ohio. I do have a lot on my mind, though.
I'm worried you're going to get that look, and you're going to get Barack mania, and your little eyes are going to go like that.
God, I hope so. That'd be excellent. I would love to feel like I was 100% behind anybody right now. However, Barack Obama voted to reinstate the Patriot Act not too long ago. That was problematic for me. But you know, I feel like there are ways to get past that.
It's a deal breaker.
A deal breaker. Is it a deal breaker? I can't tell. I think that many of the advantages of America electing Barack Obama lie in the expression of the people and the culture itself, and not in the politician of Barack Obama, not in the politic of Barack Obama, but in the expression of America.
Point there, right, is that the social movement behind him
appreciable, if nothing else,
are more important than every one of his stances. But yeah, you can see the Patriot Act, in part is like he doesn't want, with a middle, and what's his middle name?
It is Hussein. I don't personally have a problem with a Hussein middle name.
It's almost like he's forced to, okay, I've got to sign the Patriot Act.
And that's a good point, too. But our newly democratically
not a terrorist.
Yeah, exactly.
Our recently Democratic Congress, however, has just a few days ago passed FISA. And I feel like that is really affecting the culture in this country. That we're our president, our best chance here, the best guy, the most progressive guy on the board right now, voted to reinstate the Patriot Act. And now our Democratic Congress just passed FISA. We just told our country that Congress is the one that will decide who we can litigate against, who we can sue when our rights and our freedoms are being put on the line, when people are searching our phone records without warrants, when large media corporations give up phone records willingly to the government, and the government goes ahead and makes sure that they protect those fuckers from us.
Oh, good point here. Let's see the Columbus Dispatch today. Immunity for telecom companies over warrantless surveillance is reasonable. Okay, let me translate that for you. Direct violations of the U.S. Constitution and the Fourth Amendment that requires a warrant is reasonable. And that's why they call it the Columbus Dispatch, because it is dispatched right from Goering, right from the Office of Propaganda, directly to the people. So here you have the Columbus Dispatch saying, look, we've got to absolve the telecom companies if the CIA or the president says, hi, we'll violate the U.S. Constitution and wiretap people, although there is no probable cause, described as more than a hunch, but probable cause, where they have to articulate why exactly they're listening to you. These people are listening to everyone. Why? Because, and you've already used the F word, let me use it as well, they're fascists. They're authoritarians. They're using this information for power. Knowledge is power. This is what Orwell warned us about. This is what Aldous Huxley, the man who, by the way, died while pumping LSD into his veins, perfectly legal at the time, in those scenarios, is that how can we absolve? When I contract with my telephone company, I would expect that they would not allow the government to violate the U.S. Constitution. We are the patriots, and a real Patriot Act would protect the people's inalienable rights, not violate them. We need music now. I can't stand it. What's reasonable?
So, Dr. Bob, tell me, how many terrorists do you think are going to be speaking on the phones these days, talking about things like bombs?
Well, I mean, other than the Bush
Islam
administration, I mean, and the key staffers.
Do you think that we could save money and try to catch these donuts with these terrorists with things like donuts suspended over pits with stakes sticking up? Is that not perhaps a more fiscally responsible way to try to trap these damn terrorists?
But wouldn't you get just as many cops?
Well, you know, here's some of the things we need to think about. As I see the Dispatch editorial, it says this. Under normal circumstances, the proposed immunity would be ill-advised. But what transpired in the U.S. after September 11th, 2001 was anything but normal. I would agree totally. Company officials might have felt that refusing to cooperate would label them as unwilling to help protect the nation. So this is the classic, Ben Franklin rolls in his grave. There's an emergency, so the first thing you do is violate the U.S. Constitution.
Because it's not built to handle emergencies, Bob. It's not that flexible or intelligently written a document. It's not sufficient for emergencies.
I think it's fairly clear that that you would want to not spy on every single person in the U.S. But I mean, look, this is a government that left 5 suspected terrorists on the planes because they were not known terrorists. This is a government that 7 of the terrorists learned to fly in our country, right? These were our guys, what they call blowback, right? We financed Al-Qaeda. We created the Mujahideen. These were our people. We knew who they were. So why would you spend $50 billion a year, 80% of it spying on the American people who aren't Al-Qaeda, who aren't pan-Islamic fundamentalists, who are known to the government? I'm telling you, what this does is it sets up a police state. That, these people who are out there arguing that somehow that you have to violate inalienable rights. But what do we suppose that Jefferson meant by that? That is, rights that can't be violated, that can't be taken away. Is that if you believe the son of the only CIA director to serve as president is somehow concerned about protecting your rights, than what they really are, 4 generation of war profiteers. And I quote there the words of Kevin Phillips, the architect of the modern Republican Party, in the book American Dynasty. Then people just really don't understand what is happening. They are using and creating. Now note this, the dispatch says telecom businesses have declined to discuss publicly their motivations for helping the NSA. That's the National Security Agency, since the issue is in the courts. But Senator Orrin Hatch, our Utah, says the motivation was patriotism. That's a lie. Orrin Hatch is a liar. Their motivation is profit. And they're afraid of the government. They're afraid that no such agency, its charter, is still under, top secret classification, is that they're afraid that the Echelon Network, and I was one of the first half dozen journalists that wrote about this, and if you write about the NSA, then they put you on the NSA watch list. Hi, NSA. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Is Bush and Cheney still having sex on the White House desk? I hate it when the vice president buggers the president. Anyway, so in that scenario, and we always hope the NSA is listening, 120 satellites from space, the Echelon Network, is that we know their motivation isn't patriotism. They're scared. They're scared because the United States, founded on freedom with a Bill of Rights, is becoming a fascist authoritarian state with not only a massive military-industrial complex, not only a massive prison security complex aimed at the poor, aimed at imprisoning those that are drug addicts instead of treating that as a medical problem, but there's a security industrial apparatus that tortures, and they call it rendition, extraordinary rendition. It is not. It is torture. And we here at the Free Press denounce the torturers, we denounce Bush, we denounce Cheney, and we denounce many things, but we stand for the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah!
I hate it.
press, and we have a reputation as award-winning investigative reporters. We should say we have no actual evidence that Cheney buggers Bush on the White House desk. Well, if you want to clear your phone, right?
Circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, we all know it.
Love children.
We just use this as a tactics to clear the phone. If you're talking on the phone and the NSA is recording everything, you're going to want to make sure future historians have to at least do a little work. So, and if you want the phones, if you want the phones cut off, right? Because if you want to be able to speak, usually if you begin to talk about the vice president's fondness for the president sexually, chances are you might get a clear line for 5 minutes. If you want to, but of course, on the other hand, it is a fact that there was a male prostitute that visited the White House.
A journalist with a shaved head, I might add.
Okay.
Yes.
No kidding.
A plant, a double agent.
Let me test this. Jeff! He did look at me.
What was that his name? Was his name Jeff? So, Mr. Bush, I have a question, President Bush.
Yeah.
My question is this. Why are you such an amazing president? Why are you so good at your job? These are the kinds of questions Jeff was asking.
Who actually had a site, Men for Men, and they catered to the military, visited the White House often, and started a rumor that the Democratic leader in the Senate, Henry Reid, had talked about soup kitchen lines. Totally fake story in one of his softball questions. But Rush Limbaugh, again, $25 million. And look, let's be fair. The Free Press Light is a countercultural late 60s, 70s newspapers. So we like Rush. He's the last one who believes in sex and drugs. He was popped right at the airport with Viagra. And he's quite fond of OxyContin and other street drugs. He just happens to be the minister of propaganda for the right wing of the Republican Party.
He's a good time fella.
I've been making him stuff recently. You can't get the scripts no more.
Well, kind of like Osley, right? Kid Galahad, right? Up on the hill was laced with kerosene, but yours was crystal clean.
That's right.
All right.
Andrew, I noticed that you are...
does, yes, that goes back in Free Press history. Well, also, you slipped me a little note here. Yes, my name's Jeff. U.S. government seeking death row for 9 detainees at Gitmo. So this is a question, is that what kind of message does that send to the world when you kind of put people, don't let them face their accusers, and now you're going to kill them without a fair trial under the U.S. Constitution?
I mean, know something. They don't want to just...
They were part of a bigger plan.
And I probably know about Bush and Cheney.
Yeah.
It could be something even simpler than that. John McCain is running for the presidency, you realize? And that would look really nice. There's a lot of Americans who want to see the fuckers punished who did this to our country. And by God,
then
John McCain will punish those.
I mean, that's the key point. I see McCain out there. Why doesn't anyone infiltrate the crowds? And when he begins to talk about how we need to punish them in Iraq, say, there weren't any in Iraq. Saddam killed them all. He was a brutal dictator and violated people's human rights. The only country that didn't have Al-Qaeda was Iraq. That's what's so odd. It's like, okay, we're attacked by the pan-Islamic fundamentalists, our old ally, Osama bin Laden, who's hiding in Pakistan. So damn you, Pakistan, you have a bomb. You're harboring bin Laden. We're going to attack Iraq, which had nothing to do with it.
And here's $12 billion.
Send them a message.
And here's $12 billion for you, Pakistan. Do something good with it to fight the terrorists. Months later, where is it, guys? What'd you do with it? Oh, we're not exactly sure. It's gone. Probably the military. We probably put it into our own military. We've financed next generation's terrorists. Thank you very much.
In the madrasas, in the borders there, that's where they were incubated.
Jesus.
Paid for by the CIA. Paid for by the Wahhabis in Saudi Arabia, and incubated in the borders. Now think about this logically. This one the president should get. What country illegally developed a nuclear weapon? Iraq? No weapons of mass destruction. Pakistan? Yes. What country is harboring bin Laden? Iraq? No. Saddam Hussein hated him. Arch enemies. Pakistan? Yes. What country met with Al-Qaeda, their scientists, and offered them biological chemical weapons? Oh, Pakistan. Iraq hated them. Okay, so what country do you attack? Iraq. Explain that one, George W. Bush. I know when they ask you if you'd consulted your father, who kind of was smart enough to realize, let's not attack Iraq. Well, you know, it'll cost $1 trillion, and now over 1 million people have died, and we're talking civilians here mostly. Our own troops, thousands dead. But when he was asked, did you consult your father? According to Bob Woodward, he said, and this was publicly put out in the mainstream media, I consulted a higher father. And originally I was thinking he was talking about God or Jesus. Now I'm thinking he was talking about his big daddy, the one who has a tattoo on his buttocks. Dick Cheney. It's property of Dick Cheney. All right, give us some Dick Cheney tattoo right now.
Don't worry, this one's for bed. It'll just say Illuminati.
I like the way this feels, George.
Make it cursive.
Illegally developed a nuclear weapon. Iraq? No. No weapons of mass destruction. Pakistan? Yes, yes. What countries are bringing them Iraq? Iraq? No. Saddam Hussein hated it. Our gentlemen. Pakistan? Yes. This one's what country illegally developed a nuclear weapon? This one's hit. This one's hit. This one's
reverb there, kind of a Ted Nugent, early Amboy Dukes kind of thing at the end. Journey to the center of your mind there. We've demanded that everyone speaking on the mics now have a hat on in honor of the Godfather. Oh, that's the NSA. That sounds like my phone. Let me see if it's important. Who's going to win in Ohio?
Obama. Obama easy and...
Easy. I mean, isn't Hillary up by 15 in the dispatch poll?
I don't pay attention to the polls, Bob. The Las Vegas spread sites are far more accurate in my experience. My gut instinct tells me that Barack Obama will come in with a 10-point spread over Hillary. I think on the other side, you'll see a little bit more contention for Huckabee than people are expecting either. He will either win or come in a very, very close second here in Ohio. I think Huckabee is not out of this race, even though all the pundits are telling you that mathematically it's impossible. They're not figuring in Ron Paul, who is still acquiring delegates. And now that there's only 3 of them left, he's acquiring a significant amount of delegates in a weird way. I can see both conventions being brokered this year. I will not be surprised. Too many superdelegates, too many variables at play right now, and a lot of Republicans really, really hate John McCain.
Well, of course, the big news this morning, George Herbert Walker Bush, the son of Nazi financier Prescott Bush, the grandson of Samuel Prescott Bush, buried over in Green Lawn Cemetery here in Columbus. And who took over for Frank Rockefeller, John Dee's brother, at Buckeye Steel Castings, has come out and endorsed McCain as the firewall in Texas against the insurgent Republican Huckabee. Doesn't matter. I mean, this is their firewall.
How much
right?
credibility does Bush Sr. have? The answer is a lot. Bush Sr. has a lot of credibility with middle Americans.
Bush the Lesser. Like,
Yeah.
He was one of the few Bushes that occasionally would complete an actual sentence. Well, literally the fame. Mark Crispin Miller wrote a book on that, right? The Bush, dyslexicon, is that he attributed in part, like in the old days, when medieval times, when the royalty would do disgusting things in front of the peasants, and make them clean it up, and they passed a law one time saying only the royalty could wear clothes that could show their genitalia. But part of that, right, is that like we're so rich, we, even though we went to Yale, do not have to speak English, right? We're lazy. It's a sign that we're dynastic. So you're thinking it's going to help him in Texas that George Herbert Walker Bush, who really likes to hang out with Bill Clinton.
I don't think that elitist Republicans are really going to assign that much credibility to Bush Sr., but I do think that the bulk of America still finds him to be a solid enough president. They were pretty well deceived, I would say. They were pleased enough with the amount of nationalism and patriotism during his administration that we had. We had good feelings about the war.
Baghdad, we actually abided by the UN Charter. Now you've got the son who...
and we left. We left. After only a couple of years. It wasn't that long at all.
Yeah, I think mission
we stayed in Kuwait.
Right? I mean, was that him or Bush the Lesser that said mission accomplished?
Got
out of the airplane wearing a large codpiece. Mission's accomplished. I've got a codpiece on. All right. True story. Now, take a look. In fact, one of the Republicans was talking about how proud he was of the swagger, because the president himself, Karl Rove, who once wrote about how he first saw W, the younger, in a bomber jacket and tight jeans, and knew he could become president.
So creepy. So creepy, so effective.
No, it's just like, because it's just like the brown shirts in the light of the night of the long knives. Let's get a little Reiki in here, in the whole notion of the basis of fascism is really based on repression and sexual repression, right? That's why they hate liberals, right? Because liberals believe in more than one idea, and they believe people should have diversity and alternatives, and not everyone, should have sex in the same position forever and burn in eternal hell. And there was always an exception for the elite. But the mass appeal of fascism by Reich, a lot of these fascist forces, they'll always bring up, they're overly concerned with people's sexual practices. And again, and it always ends up, you always end up with a Senator Craig with a wide stance in a public restroom. It's just inevitable because that's their demon. It's normal liberal American people don't sit around and worried about gay people, or go down to gay bars to beat them up. If they're heterosexuals, they're out actually dating women.
And
it's only the right wing that's worried about, they're at the gay bars, they're all sweaty. Who knows what they're doing?
I've conducted very serious studies on this too. After serious research, and I've got a tremendous amount of notes, I can tell you that liberals are far better in bed. Across the board. It's true.
Yeah, but you've never been in bed this one, the shiny jackets.
Yes, I have.
Shiny boots of lava.
So do you think Karl Rove could have a crush on John McCain?
Velvet Underground Fans? What was that?
Do you think it's possible that Karl Rove could have